gladiators transformed pain into power. Pain is something most people fear, but for the gladiators, pain was a weapon. Not an enemy, not a punishment, a forge. A sacred fire that shaped their minds, hardened their spirit, and transformed ordinary men into legends. Imagine if you could use pain the same way, not as something that breaks you, but as something that builds you. Today, you will discover exactly how the gladiators did it. Pain. For the gladiator, it was the first teacher he ever met and the last one he ever forgot. Long before stepping into the arena, every gladiator went through a brutal awakening. When he entered the ludus, the training school, he quickly learned that pain wasn't just physical, it was emotional, psychological, and deeply personal. Pain was the voice that whispered, "You will not survive," and the gladiator had to learn how to answer, "Watch me." But here's the truth. They didn't overcome pain by becoming numb. They didn't ignore it, deny it, or pretend it didn't matter. Instead, gladiators practiced a mental ritual that few people today understand. They transformed pain into strength by giving it meaning. During their harshest training, when their bodies screamed for rest, the lanista, their trainer, would remind them of a single phrase: "Pain is proof that you are still alive." To the gladiator, pain meant potential. Every strike, every injury, every scar carved into their skin was a reminder of a simple law. The body breaks, but the spirit decides whether the man continues. And here's where the transformation began. As they trained, gladiators developed an internal conversation, a dialogue between their fear and their will. When pain surged through their muscles, they didn't ask, "Why is this happening to me?" They asked, "What is this teaching me?" This shift was powerful. It turned suffering into strategy. When a blow landed hard during training, a weak man would collapse. But a gladiator would analyze, how does the pain travel through the body? What angle created the damage? How can I prevent this next time? Pain, then, became information, a guide, an ally. And because of that mindset, something extraordinary happened. Gladiators became impossible to intimidate. In the arena, the crowd roared as metal clashed, dust rose and blood spilled. But what the audience didn't see was the invisible battle happening inside each warrior. A psychological war where pain tried to claim control. Yet gladiators had already mastered it long before stepping into the sand. They embraced a philosophy similar to the Stoics. You cannot control the hit, but you can control the meaning you give to the hit. Pain that had meaning no longer weakened them. It elevated them. Before every fight, many gladiators performed a silent ritual, a grounding moment. They would place their hand on their chest, feel their heartbeat, and remind themselves, if I can feel pain, it means I can still fight. And that phrase, simple, primal, yet powerful, unlocked a hidden truth. Pain is not the opposite of strength. Pain creates strength. Every broken bone that healed, every torn muscle rebuilt, every scar earned, it all served as evidence of survival. Pain was a story written directly on their bodies, chapter by chapter. And that story had only one message. You have endured worse, and yet you rise again. Now picture this moment. A gladiator, bleeding, exhausted, barely able to lift his sword, yet when his opponent charges, something awakens inside him. Not rage, not fear, but memory. The memory of every trial he survived,
Every moment he refused to give up, every lesson pain taught him. And with that memory, he stands taller. That is what made gladiators extraordinary. Not their weapons, not their muscles, not the cheers of the crowd, but their relationship with pain. Most people run from pain. Gladiators moved toward it. Most people see pain as a signal to stop. Gladiators saw it as a sign they were getting stronger. Most people ask for comfort. Gladiators asked for challenge. And here's the truth no one tells you. The same transformation is possible for you. You don't need an arena. You don't need armor. You don't need a sword. You only need to adopt the gladiator mindset. When pain shows up in your life, physical, emotional, or mental, you don't let it define you. You let it refine you. Pain becomes your mentor, your trainer, your sculptor. Every time life hits you, you don't crumble. You grow. Every setback becomes preparation. Every rejection becomes redirection. Every wound becomes wisdom. Because pain is not the end. For the gladiator, and for you, pain is the beginning of power. So the next time you feel overwhelmed, the next time something hurts, the next time you think you can't handle anymore, remember this ancient truth. Pain is the fire. You are the sword. And fire does not destroy the sword. It forges it.